Hi everyone, it's Leilani. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be working on the first 5 prompts of my childhood documented album. Now you may be saying, what are you talking about? So I decided that I wanted to create a little mini album to document some things from my childhood. Now, this is really just like pop culture related. I'm not getting into the nitty gritty of things that really happened in my childhood or actual photos of myself. I'm just finding pictures online and kind of creating an album based on some of my favorite things growing up. So with that, I created a prompt list, and there are 20 prompts that go along with this mini album project. So you can find those prompts on my Instagram account, but I will also link them below if you want to give them a look. And like I said, this is kind of a 90s themed prompt list. Like if you know me by now, you know I'm into like the nostalgia from my childhood, and I was born in 1986, so the majority of my childhood was in the 90s. So all of my tween years and all of that. So that's a time that I wanted to represent. But of course, you could take the prompt list just as simply ideas, just to get your creative juices flowing, and you could change up any of the prompts that do not work for you. Or if you just want to choose a completely different timeline, the 70s, the 80s, the 2000s, anything like that, and you could create your own or just use my prompts as like a jumping off point. So I will link it below if you're interested in checking it out. I would love it if anyone would like to follow along and make their own album or layouts. I mean, I would love to see some of the things that you were into as a child. So for this one, though, the very first prompt is Y2K. So for me, that was a huge thing in my growing up because, it was the year 2000 and all of the things that were going along with that, but also it was the time of like first computers. So for me, my first computer was a Gateway 2000 computer that looked a lot like this picture. Now, like I say, I just Googled all these images. So none of these are my own images. I just Googled them. And also just a note, a lot of the photos that I Googled and then saved to my phone, before I put them on my computer, I went into the free app Photo Room and I took which that app takes the background away. So then whatever background these photos had, if they were like dark or anything like that, it would just take it away and it could just be a crisp white background. And then I was able to like cut the picture out like I did for the computer, and I didn't have any kind of background like noising up my photograph. So that's just like a little idea. Or if you're wondering how I have like white backgrounds for all of them, that's how. So yeah, my first computer, and I love to play computer games. So that's what I wanted to talk about for mine. But of course you could talk about, your first screen names or chat rooms or, AOL dial-up internet. You could talk about any type of technology thing or, something like that that goes along with, your childhood taking typing classes or who knows what, anything like that. But what I did was, for this entire album, I am using the Vicki Boutin Color Study Collection. So I had a few pieces left that I had bought a few months ago, but I really didn't have enough to complete this album. I did order a few more sheets, but I really wanted to get going on these first 5 prompts. So what I did was, Dearly D on her latest Patreon video talked about a different collection from Crate Paper, but she had the American Crafts digital website linked, and I looked, and sure enough, a color study was on there. So I was able to buy a color study digitally. So this side of the page that I'm working on now is actually a piece of paper that I just printed off of my printer, and you can see the colors are pretty much the same. So I feel like it works pretty well. But so I am using a mix of the actual paper and the printable. So I will link that below as well, just if you want to give it a look, but that's what I'm using. Then you'll see that I sprinkled on a lot of little stickers. So, I'm sticker obsessed currently. So I found stickers that I felt like kind of had that 90s vibe, like little smiley faces, there's little fuzzy mushrooms, and I also punched out some stars out of some coordinating paper and added that on as well. But I love sprinkling on the stickers throughout. I just think it gives it kind of a like a notebook vibe of whenever I was a kid, which is something that I really wanted this book to have the feel of. I wanted it to look like a scrapbook, but also to have that kind of nostalgic feel. So for the second prompt, it was Pop Princess. So a lot of options here, but once again, you could just do a singer that you liked. It doesn't have to be pop music and, anything like that. But for me, there was a lot of pop music going on and a lot of that Pop Princess kind of vibe. So I decided to go with the Spice Girls because they were one of my favorite bands growing up. So for this one, off camera, I had pretty much already picked out my papers because I was trying to see what I had, what I needed to print off, all of that. And I went ahead and did my stamping. So all of my titles are with 3 different Heidi Swapp stamp sets. This one is old school. And then there's also the Honey and Spice. And then there's one other one I'll show you later. I'm not exactly sure. If you want me to look it up, I will probably be able to figure that out. But I just used the 3 different stamp sets, and I really think that gave it a nice, like, clean look, which I liked since this is such like a busy album with all of the bright colors and everything. I do use 3 different stamp sets, but I feel like since they're all around the same size, it just kind of keeps it cohesive and makes it look clean and nice. So for this one, this has an inner and an outer stamp. It's the old school stamp set. So I just used the outer and I stamped it on pink paper. So I didn't have to actually stamp anything else. I just stamped it all once. So I am doing a little bit of journaling, as I'm sure you saw on the previous page as well. I just typed out a little journaling for the first 5 prompts, printed it all out beforehand, and now I'm just cutting it off into little strips and adding it underneath. I just wanted to add any specific memories that correlate with these prompts and just add a little bit of my own memories or life experience or little bits that I wanted to share about each of these prompts, because I feel like it just kind of brings it into your life a little bit better if you have some sort of journaling within the album. So I enjoy that myself. So I just decided to print it off. I figured that it would keep it looking like having that clean look. And I thought maybe my handwriting would just give it a little too much. There's a lot going on. So I'm trying to also keep it nice and neat as well. So I really like the full size picture. I think that's about like maybe a little over 5 inches by 7 inches. So I'm not sure exactly, but this is a pretty small album. So this is the Heidi Swapp Storyline Chapters mini album. I bought these in that scrapbook.com haul back in maybe May. So love this. But okay, so this one I went off camera, cut out everything. I had so much to cut out, so I didn't want to bore you with all of that. But the third prompt is boy band. So yeah, if you are from this, time, growing up in this time, you definitely know the boy bands were huge. But once again, you could just do your favorite band. I mean, you don't have to do a boy band. Everything on the prompt list, of course, you can change and do whatever you want to do. This is just really for my own personal experience, and I was just trying to share it with you guys to give a little inspiration to document your childhood. So Backstreet Boys were my boy band of choice. Loved the Backstreet Boys. I was like obsessed, and I definitely had to add them into my childhood album. So I found this photo online. It already had a nice crisp white background. So did the Spice Girls one. So I specifically kind of picked pictures offline that I thought would be would look nice in an album. And I'm just once again putting all my little stickers on. I'm going to do a few little stars like I like to do. And then if you've noticed, I've been taking out my white gel pen and just outlining inside of the stars, which I think helps them pop. And also I love having a little bit of the gel pen in there because, of course, that definitely reminds me of my childhood. I had so many of those Jelly Roll pens and loved to doodle on things with them. So very fun. So then I decided, so this album, whenever I counted the pages before I started, it would have enough for 18 of the 20 prompts. So I know that a couple of these prompts at least are going to need to be one pages like this one. So I decided that I didn't have a ton to say about either one of these, and I could get away with just doing each of these on one individual page. So right beside boy band, I'm doing the prompt TGIF. So for me, TGIF, of course, was a lineup of shows that came out on Friday nights, and that was like my must-watch TV. I absolutely loved it. So some of these shows do kind of go along that theme, like Home Improvement and Family Matters and shows like that. But then also, I just included any TV show that I had to watch. So there are some after school type shows like Bill Nye and Saved by the Bell and Ghost Rider, shows like that that wouldn't have been on TGIF. I'm just calling it that because it brings me back to a time in my life. But of course, this is basically favorite TV shows, must watch TV. Now, I will say that I also have a prompt later on that's specifically about Nickelodeon, and I have another one that's specifically about like cartoons. So this list is just shows that are not on Nickelodeon or cartoons. So those are going to have their own, because TV was a huge thing for me. So I have several little prompts that talk about different things like that. So but yeah, I love the way this looked. I ended up printing these pictures off at just a 1 inch by 1 inch square, and I knew that I wanted them to be kind of small. I got these pictures offline, so some of them might not be the best quality ever. And also, I knew that I was going to have several of them, so then I could kind of keep it clean, like in a little square with just all of the individual pictures, and keeping them small, I think helped that, look nice. And then I have my little bit of journaling, and once again, my stickers. And then I think at this point, I'm just going back, making sure that I don't want to add any other stickers. I know that I do add a few to this computer games page. Yeah, so we're back here. So did any of you play any computer games? I mean, were you into that? I don't know if anyone else did. I've never been a gamer, but I loved computer games. So on this page, these pictures are printed off at a 1.5 by 1.5 square. And I remember when I got my computer, I got like a pack of games. And so the Babysitter's Club and Clueless games like came with my computer, and I absolutely adored them. And the other games are these, they were like rocket adventure games by Purple Moon, and I loved these. They were like choose your own adventure. So you would pick what Rocket did. Rocket was the girl. You would pick what she did next, and that would change the course of the story. So you could play it several times, and it's like a choose your own adventure goosebump book type thing. So I just loved that, and I played those so much. So I had to include that in my childhood, life story here. And so the last prompt for today, the fifth one, is toys. So one of the papers from the color study collection had all of these big colorful circles. So I thought that it would be kind of cool to put one toy inside each circle. So I printed off, you'll see all of these have a white background. So actually what gave me that idea, a lot of the pictures I was saving off of Google, they already just had a complete white background. I think the Beanie Baby did and the Tamagotchi did. So then I decided that I would go into that app Photo Room, and I would change all of the backgrounds to just a plain white, and then I would just cut them out, and I'm going to add them inside of these little circles. So these were some of my favorite toys that I could remember as a child. So I have like the Tamagotchi. I have hit clips. So if you remember those, it was kind of like a little MP3 player looking thing that was like on a keychain, I think. And then you could put little tiny, they almost looked like a full CD, like in a case. They were square. You could stick them in there and they would play a little clip of different songs. So you could get like a Britney Spears one or NSYNC or whatever. And you could put, just pop them in there. And I don't know, it was such a thing whenever I was growing up, and I loved those. Of course, troll dolls, I was obsessed. Barbies, I have a doodle bear down there where you could draw on it and then put it in the wash and then redraw on it again when it was clean. Polly Pockets, of course, Lisa Frank and other stationery, Beanie Babies, Barbies. I have the Dion from Clueless Barbie there because I remember that doll specifically. And also the big purple thing is called a password journal. And I loved any kind of like journals or diaries. And that one had like a little code you could put on it. And I just remember having that specifically. So I loved looking up the different toys and figuring out which ones I wanted to include. So this is the second time on the Spice Girls one I did as well. I cut out a circle just to help my title to pop. So this one was Fave Toys, and I kind of cut out the circle with my circle punch, adhered my title onto it, and then I added a little other pop of pink around it just by like free-handedly cutting it around the circle. And then here I'm cutting out all of my journaling about the toys that I loved, and I'm going to adhere this. Now, you'll actually see a few times in this video. Right now, the title is popped up with foam, but I ended up having to go back and I took all the foam out because already this album was getting really chunky with just the first 5 prompts with that foam. So I just, it looks a little nicer with the dimension, but I just had to take it off. So I ended up right here. You'll see it's flat. So I'm not using any foam in here. I still think it looks fine, and it will definitely help as I go. So normally with like little notebooks like this that don't have like a spiral or a binder style binding, I will typically take some of the pages out. But like I said, I have to have them all in here to do all of the 20 prompts. So I'm just making it work. So once again, we're adding our stickers and our little punched out stars. One of my favorite parts. I love doing this. So that's been really fun. I think I used all of my fuzzy smileys, so I may have to order some more or find a good replacement because those are just some of my favorite stickers ever. They're from Pip Sticks, and I love a fuzzy sticker. So all of those kind of bigger smileys, those are fuzzy, and so are the mushrooms. So just really cute. So there you go. That's the end of that one. Then kind of as an afterthought, I didn't know what I was going to do with the inside cover, but I thought, what would be cute would be to kind of have this picture. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen this photo of me. I also have a flip through. I will put it down below as well, of a Life Crafted childhood album that I did kind of early on in my channel, but that picture is scrapbooked in there. But anyway, I took a picture of the picture, and I decided that I wanted to kind of create a page like the front of a book that says like, this book is property of, and then I stamped out my name, Leilani, and then I kind of adhered the picture down kind of crooked with like a piece of washi, so it looks like it's just kind of stuck in there. And then this is actually just a sheet of stickers from Mrs. Grossman, and I love this sheet because all of these stickers are just on that sheet. There's like a unicorn and a dolphin and a kitty cat and a panda, and it just feels very like tween year type sticker sheet, which I love. And then I'm also putting on some of the smileys and the stars and all the things that I've been using. But I really like this page because I feel like it's just like the opening page of a notebook that I would have had as a kid, decorating it with maybe paint and stickers and stuff like that. So I really love the way that this looked. And I will also be decorating the outside of this notebook. I mean, nothing too fancy, but I'm going to adhere some coordinating paper. I'm waiting for the paper that I got from scrapbook.com from a color study to come in, because the paper that I am using to print the digital version, it is way thicker. My cardstock is really thick. So I really prefer to use the actual paper because it's much thinner and doesn't make the book so bulky. So anyway, here's a little flip through, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. I'll be back at you soon with another video. Please subscribe and like it, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!